So, Assemblymember Clark.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And good morning, Mr. Mayor and Andy. Steve, do you believe the Thameslink should be brought into the TfL network?
Sorry, I missed the question.
It was for the Mayor. Do you believe that the Thameslink should be brought into the TfL network?
I'm in favour of everything being brought into TfL network, LNER, everything.
Everything.
I'm afraid we got to prioritise though, and so the chair tells me, so the commissioner tells me, Chair, and so what we're prioritising, Member Clark, are those lines that start nearer to London, but also those lines where the franchise ends sooner rather than later, and the commissioner's encouraging me to prioritise Great Northern and Southeastern, but also because there's a strong business case for those. By the way, I know, and I've been lobbied by many Thameslink passengers who are desperate.
Assemblymember Clark begins with a firm voice and a pointed question that instantly commands the room. She greets the chair and the mayor politely but wastes no time diving straight into what matters. Do you believe the Thameslink should be brought into the TfL network? She asks calmly but with weight behind her words. The air grows still for a second as the question lands. Everyone knows this is not just about trains, it is about control, about service quality, about how Londoners move through their city every single day.
For us to take over because they think it leads to better quality of service. And I understand that what we're doing, speaking to the DfT, about metroising lines, even though not necessarily taking them over or they're being devolved to us, are there things TfL could do working with the pot to make them more like TfL services? So those are parallel conversations we're having with the government, in addition to taking over lines. And as I said, the priority has been on Great Northern and Southeastern.
Okay, thank you for that. I receive many complaints from constituents, neighbours, my own family, about both the reliability and the cost of Thameslink. Living near a Thameslink station, I understand. I try to use the service myself, and it's a difficult to use service, is how I would categorise it. Trains are cancelled and delayed so often from my local station that there's a permanent sign outside. It doesn't come and go. It's outside all the time, and it says, quote, "Please check screen before travel. Cancellation delays post."
The mayor takes a deep breath and begins to answer in his usual measured tone. He says he is in favour of everything being brought under TfL's control, but stresses that priorities must be set. He explains that Great Northern and Southeastern lines are higher on the list because their franchises end sooner and have stronger business cases. Still, he admits he understands the frustration of Thameslink passengers who keep lobbying for change, believing TfL management would finally give them a service that actually works. His tone is cautious, optimistic, yet
phone services due to unforeseen circumstances. Thanks for your understanding. This inconsistent service does not provide the level of reliability and usability that Londoners rightly expect. It's also just more expensive to use. So Andy, as the private rail franchises are wound up, how can we deliver better services in the future?
So I think, as the Mayor said, we have been extremely successful with the overground model. It's transformed what were very poor performing, low frequency, underused parts of the rail network in London. We want to expand that further. The Great Northern Moorgate branch is the one that we think is potentially the easiest and simplest and got a very strong business rationale for. It's part of the conversations with regard to what happens when its current contract ends. We also think there's some other models.
Clark does not back down. She shares what she hears from her own neighbours and even what she experiences herself as a regular user. Trains, cancelled trains, delayed announcements that never end, and a permanent sign outside her local station that reads, "Please check screens before travel." The sign never goes away because the problems never stop. She calls the service difficult to use, expensive, unreliable, and far below what Londoners deserve for the price they pay. Her voice carries both disappointment and determination to fix it.
Particularly around metroisation, as the Mayor's alluded to, around Southeastern. But we also need to be alive to the fact that some of these networks are hugely integrated, travel well beyond TfL's geographical reach. Thameslink, for example, could all the way down to Brighton. So we need to make sure that there's the right justification for it. We need to make sure it's deliverable. We think there's a very strong case on some of these to further improve housing development and economic growth. I'm pleased to say that the conversations we're having at the minute with the department are positive. But it also needs to come with the relevant funding to transfer across. The government is paying subsidy to the train operating companies at the minute. We expect that to transfer across to us again, with the hope that over time we would be able to reduce that down to zero, and it would need some capital investment. So we're very keen to expand the overground model. We're also keen to see what further we can do to increase TfL's and the Mayor's influence on.
Then the Transport Commissioner steps in. Andy speaks with authority and precision. He reminds the Assembly how the overground network once faced similar issues until it came under TfL control and transformed into one of London's biggest success stories. He says that same success can be repeated with other lines, but Thameslink is complicated. It runs far beyond London boundaries, stretching all the way to Brighton. That means coordination and careful planning are essential. He insists the idea is not impossible, just difficult, and it will take government cooperation.
The wider GBR conversation, there's still a reasonable amount of infrastructure TfL solely uses that is actually network rails infrastructure, and we want to work closely with them to see if there's opportunity there for us to enhance that as well.
Thank you for that. Following on from earlier comments about the excellent 310 bus, I want to reflect on the triumph of the campaign from the London Jewish Forum, from the Board of Deputies of British Jews, from lots of individual residents across North London who really campaigned, including politicians, for some as long as a decade, including Joanne McCartney and Andrew Dismore. I was delighted when I was at the hustings at JW3 when Sadiq announced a campaign pledge to, in fact, bring a bus similar to the 210, it wasn't yet named the 310, that would connect North London's Jewish communities.
Andy continues his explanation, building momentum. He says the overground model proves that TfL can run rail lines efficiently and boost local economies. The Great Northern Branch, he argues, is the easiest starting point with a solid business case and clear public benefit. Talks with the Department for Transport are ongoing and encouraging, but any change will require proper funding. He explains that government subsidies currently paid to train operators should instead go to TfL with a plan to reduce them over time. It is a vision of progress, but also patience.
It's a further joy to join the launch in Golders Green with Sadiq, with Andy, with Sarah Zachman, our MP, and with Barnett's Cabinet Member for Environment, Alan Schneiderman, and many, many campaigners. Mr. Mayor, would you agree with me that this has been an excellent example of TfL, yourself, and others working with communities to realise the transport links that people need?
Well, can I just commend the member for her assiduous lobbying on this issue ever since she became a member, even before. But actually, it's a tribute to the campaign from local residents and the local community, both in that part of London and also in Hackney as well, for the direct bus without the need to change. She'll be aware there is still lots of opposition, and there are concerns about there being a bus that gives the impression it's for one community when she and I knows it's not. But it's really important to understand that people's needs in our city are different based on a variety of factors. We've talked earlier on today about.
Clark shifts gears, moving from criticism to celebration. She praises the success of the 310 bus route and the long campaign behind it. For over a decade, the London Jewish Forum, the Board of Deputies, and countless residents fought for this connection across North London. She recalls attending a hustings where Sadiq Khan himself promised the route, and she proudly joined the official launch alongside him and community leaders. The 310 became a symbol of persistence, unity, and representation, proving that when people and government work together, real change happens.
Violence against women and girls, and the concerns there are around hate crimes, but we've got to understand and be sensitive to concerns this community is facing, particularly since October the 7th. 2023, and my reflection on the hustings was, even though matters of huge geopolitics are being discussed, the issue that got the biggest round of applause and the biggest cheer was 310, which just confirms what Tiffany once said, which is all politics is local. And as somebody whose dad did a job not too far away from what we're talking about. I'm not sure if she's aware, but my dad is a bus driver. I was particularly proud to have a bus route that doesn't stop going from her patch to the patch, in Hackney, which is incredibly important.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Chair.
Sadiq Khan responds warmly, clearly touched by the recognition. He commends Clark's consistent lobbying and calls the project a true tribute to local effort. He acknowledges there was resistance at first from those who feared the bus might seem exclusive, but insists the route serves everyone. He reminds the Chamber that London's diversity requires sensitivity and understanding, especially amid rising hate crimes and tensions since October 7, 2023. The 310 bus, he says, is not just transport, it is connection and solidarity on wheels.